Too much pressure and I'm nervous. And the taxi cab puts on the radio.
Yeah.
Bro, speaking of throwback songs, how about those throwback songs in the movie you watched this week?
That was bad.
I know.
That
I
was
was trying to
bad.
think of a great one.
Speaking of those throwback songs.
I was going to say at one point, I was like, oh, you saw Ted Lasso with his boy in the crowd. Speaking of boys in crowds with their fathers, what did you think of the movie this week?
Oh, Stevie, you're losing your touch.
Um,
You're off your game in the new spot. We'll get it back.
you know what used to rock? School. Speaking of School of Rock, the movie we watched this week was directed by that guy.
All right. God damn it.
What do you mean by that?
Give me a fucking break, buddy.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
It's still before midnight. Speaking of before midnight, this movie this week was directed by that
Wait,
guy.
he did Before Midnight?
Yeah, the Before Sunrise and those ones too.
Yeah.
I
Why wasn't Ethan Hawke in School of Rock? That's the real question.
That's true.
Didn't Richard Linklater do Almost Famous?
Maybe. I'm not sure. Did Dazed and Confused though.
Yeah, he did Almost Famous.
I think Richard Linklater is, and that's who directed the movie this week. The movie this week was Boyhood.
Boyhood.
I think Richard Linklater is one of the best American filmmakers.
Yeah, he might be.
But he doesn't really do like the whole blockbuster thing usually. And I think that's what makes it great.
But they feel so mainstream. I was so amazed by how mainstream this felt. You've told me about this movie a million times. And when I started, I was like, wow, this just like feels like fun already. Just like that classic, just every music choice at the beginning, every throwback song.
So the movie, the premise is over 12 years, they met once a year and filmed like a scene or like a few scenes. And they used the same actors to play each part throughout the whole thing. The sister was his daughter.
In 2002.
Yeah, the sister was his daughter.
Good guess here.
And Ethan Hawke was in it. I forgot what the mom's name is.
Patricia Arquette.
Great actor.
So good.
And it just follows. It's just like a little slice of life. Like his parents are divorced, and the mom has some rocky relationships. I don't know, just a lot of slice of life stuff.
Yeah, it transitions very interestingly. Where it just it isn't a structure. It just it just entertains you throughout their life. At very interesting moments and
it just like happened to line up with our years. Like when he was that age, that's what we are.
Really?
Yeah.
So
maybe like 1 year younger.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean he's like 6 at 2002. So like, but
that's
just still pretty fucking close.
Yeah, it just hit me so hard when like that Soulja Boy Crank That remix come on.
The Ripstick too in the background too. He's that was the cool. Like instantly, I saw the second he started playing the Game Boy, and then it very quick. After like it transitioned like once, and then you see him playing an Xbox.
And then he's like sitting there watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Or like the time where like you would just watch the same YouTube videos over and over again.
And someone's like, "You're really watching that again."
It was the Will Ferrell like, "Give me my money."
I've never even seen that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've only seen it like once or twice.
Yeah, but I've seen memes of it. I feel like on Twitter, But
yeah.
But yeah, it was so good in that aspect. They really like every moment of this movie was so real feeling. You know what I mean? Like nothing felt like acting.
Or
I don't know.
Dramatized, like it felt authentic.
Yeah, and the way they did, like even just down to like the boys just breaking wood in the house that's like being partially built. You know what I mean? Like that's just like what you would do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like how the dynamic of like the older brother and friends like picking on the one friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, like you trying to like hold your own against them.
Yeah. There was so much to that. Like
the one kid did kind of flame him back pretty good where he was like
yeah, why
if you're so cool, why are you hanging out with 8th graders?
Yeah. Yeah, so many different moments like that. So many, just seeing how the kids acted and all this too. Like, every different kid felt like, like, oh, I know all these kids. Like
when they're playing the Wii boxing together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they just very quickly. It's like that was like the first day of them like living there too. Like in that random new house.
Well, no, it's so great too because you see not only like the main character Mason grow, but like Ethan Hawke's character and the mom grow. and go through so many different things. Like Ethan
Yeah.
Hawke's character starts off being like such a drifter kind of piece of shit, but then by the end of it, like he's a really solid dude, and he's been a really solid dad the whole time.
Yeah.
Just maybe not as like obviously involved in the life because
Yeah.
they're separated.
Yeah.
But every time he's there, he's always giving him good advice.
Yeah. No, he was. He was like a good dad in those scenes.
You
like,
don't want the gutters, life doesn't give you. Or you don't want the bumpers, life doesn't give you bumpers. It seems like a dick thing to say, but that's like good advice.
Yeah. No, he was dope.
And then he's like sitting there being like, "Who you voting for in the next election?"
Them going around with the Biden Obama signs too was
He was-
hilarious. And
she
he's
was
like,
like-
rip up that McCain. He's like, grab it. And he's like, what? He's like, no, grab it now.
Dude, she goes, he had a Confederate flag in his front yard. He's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Do I look like an Obama supporter?
He's like, I could shoot you right now. Get off my lawn.
Yeah. And then the one lady was like, that's so awesome. That's
Yeah.
so great.
She's like, I made these shirts, Mama for Obama.
But then, like, I don't know, there's so many great lighthearted moments. But then the movie gets, like, I don't know, heavy at times, too.
Yeah, it gets pretty, like, it gets heavier at the end, of course.
The first dad really, I don't know, this time was really unsettling for me. I
Yeah.
think, like, when I first saw the movie, I, like, was, I think, like, a sophomore in, like, 21, 22. So, like, I really resonated with, like, Mason and, like, Mason's progression into himself. But now that
Yeah.
I'm watching it, like, a little bit older, like, I really resonate with, like, the mom and the dad a little bit more.
Yeah.
Or just maybe all of it.
Yeah.
And just being like, damn, I understand how she, like, slipped into that relationship. And, like, I get how hard that had to be
Yeah.
to get out. But there's some moments that you're like, oh, like, when she's on the ground and you don't know how she got there.
Oh, I mean, I knew exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then, like, the throwing of the glass stuff.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like, that's a fucked up part. Like I said, I don't know. I felt like this was my life. Like, moving so much as a kid. I felt that. You know what I mean? My mom dated people. Like, I've lived with I've had stepbrothers for 6 months.
Damn.
Yeah. And then it just didn't work out. And then we're gone. And it's like, that's wild.
Yeah, you had that moment where they were like,
Yeah.
are we ever going to see them again? And she's
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even really like that either, you know what I mean? It was just different, but yeah, that's happened to me a couple times, and I don't know, it's crazy. It's funny seeing, not funny, but it's wild seeing, the different types of boyfriends, too, dealing with, a single mom type shit, that shit hits at home so hard, you know what I mean? But it's, interesting, because they always show Mason noticing it every time, too. He was always, the one noticing when the guy liked her. You know what I mean? Instantly. And I think his little manager at the end was like, oh, that's your mom?
Yeah.
I think he was about to be the next one. They just never... That might be in Manhood.
Maybe in Manhood. I love that, the pacing of this movie. Because, a lot of movies, they follow, a structure of, there's the beginning part, the climax, the different momentums. But this is just kind of like a breeze.
Yeah.
And there are, those peak dramatic moments, when they're finally getting away from that first dad and, the second dad. And,
It feels like life. It feels like a journey. Even just thinking about where Ian left off in the movie, because Ian was watching it with me for, up until they were still they're still real young for the most part, because it was, a good portion of being young, and then it started moving a little faster. Or it felt like it, at least.
It feels like it.
Yeah, it's there's those puberty years where dude just jumps up real quick, or his voice changes one transition real quick.
Yeah. Oh man, and there's something I think that everybody can connect to.
Yeah.
And there's little slices of life that just make me think about things differently, or just make me feel less alone in going through it. I don't know. Like when he has to get his hair cut and he's pissed off about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I feel for you. I
Yeah.
get that. Or even when he's in the dark room and the teacher's giving him trying to give a motivational
I fucked
talk.
with that teacher though, low key, but that teacher was a sergeant about it, but
It's one of those things. It reminded me of a lesser severe version of the Whiplash guy. But you kind of need everyone has those moments. I feel where being I see a lot of potential in you, but you gotta figure out how to harness this shit.
I think he did. I think that teacher did it better than most people do it in real life.
Yeah.
Obviously it was written.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
but
he never said you can't do art.
Yeah.
He just gave.
That's
He
what I'm
was,
saying, and he straight up said, he's like, I think you're so talented. You know what I mean? He said, you know, I don't know. I feel like that's like, you know, and I feel like he was like, you know, like responsive to that. You know, he said it a little aggressively, but he said it like, you know, not just like, I think you're talented. You know what I mean? He said it like a lot more than that, you know.
and it got him to go shoot more.
Yeah.
I love his little journey into becoming a photographer.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was
I
cool.
wonder if that like, I wonder if they like play into like his interests. I wonder if that like,
I think part of it might have been Richard Linklater like writing about himself
Yeah.
somewhat too.
yeah, no, I mean, I knew there had to be some elements to that.
I also loved that the dad's friend, like this is like a little detail, but like the dad's friend is now like kind of popped off. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that was dope. That
he
was a
like
really-
stuck with it, and like
That was a cool payoff at the
Yeah.
end. Like,
all the payoffs are so cool. There's like a bunch of little payoffs that you're
Yeah.
just like, how'd they do this?
yeah.
And like you were mentioning off on camera, but I love the moment when he like brings the kid over and he has like the weed up. He's like,
Yeah. No,
Oh.
that felt like just that whole thing felt like every place my dad's ever lived at.
Interesting.
Like that's like so funny. I remember going to my dad's for the weekends and just being at like the cool apartment, you know what I mean, with video games and fucking a pool table or like a guitar and an amp, you know, and like oh no, like it was just
Yeah.
yeah, that scene I love that, especially when they started playing the music and shit too.
Yeah.
He had like the little Fender Rhodes or some shit in the background. Like,
Yeah. The song was like a little bit too like I would have if I was the kid I would have felt weird, but it was a good song.
that's like
was
that's
a
also
good
the
song.
beauty of like the writing of that scene.
Yeah.
Of like being like a struggling musician. You know what I mean? Like you put your heart and soul
and
into
dad.
music. You know what I mean? And like and you want to speak your truths and shit too. And like I don't know. Like that scene, I was like, holy fuck, that'd be me if I was like a dad right now. Maybe just being like. You know, and I'm going through all that, you know, like
And it was like very like clear that he's trying to like connect with his kids.
yeah, you know, like
I loved how much effort he put into trying to be
yeah,
a good dad. And like at first, you know, he thinks about being a good dad as like taking the kids bowling and bringing them gifts. And then
Yeah.
eventually like, you know, leads into being like, no bullshit, like what's up with your life?
yeah,
And I like that.
yeah. The whole time he was on that, and yeah, it's funny. It takes him some time to like mature, you know what I mean? And it's like, it was interesting to me how like positive everybody was about like him starting the new family, kind of. You know what I mean? I feel like that like a lot of times like
Can go sour.
yeah, it can like cut deep sometimes to people. You know what I mean? Like
We gave him a gun for his birthday. That was so
yeah,
funny.
and the grandma with the Bible with like
Yeah.
the, you know.
Was I baptized?
And that was funny, and because they were joking outside, and she's like, "I can hear you," you know. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You know, her parents are religious," and
Oh. And then the little moment with the mom and the manager of the restaurant, that's really powerful to
yeah,
me.
that was super dope. That was the best payoff. you
Yeah,
know?
and then I feel so bad for the mom at the end. Like that feels so real and so painful where she's just like she's having like an existential crisis
yeah,
and it's like, damn. Like, I don't know. That hurts. I get her pain. But I mean like she's starting a new chapter 2. I think it's just
Yeah.
like one of those like the opposite page of a new chapter sometimes feels like a little bit like scary and daunting.
yeah. No, that scene was crazy, and it just
Because he's like he has unlimited, you know, like his
Yeah.
future in front of her, and she feels like her future's behind her.
yeah.
He's like, Mom, I think you were like 40 years too early on.
Which is also like, wait, is it 40? Like, how old is she actually?
I think she's probably 40.
Yeah, so it might be like, you know, it should be like a good like 50, 60, you
Yeah.
know, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh man, and the music choices are so good. Like Yellow to start it out with was so nice.
Yeah.
And he's just like laying in the grass.
Yeah.
What did he say? Like, I think wasps come from throwing the rocks. And I was like, that's such like a
Throwing water.
yeah. Oh, and then like the little kids finding the magazine. That felt like childhood. Not
Yeah.
childhood, but like
No, everything about it, yeah. I mean, I almost forget about all of it. It's like cool because it feels like life because you almost like forget about the childhood, like, and,
yeah.
you know, and like,
I don't know if you like when she's like, "Oh, he hit me," and she's faking it. That to me was like, "Oh man, that was my childhood."
yeah. See, I didn't know the sibling
Fair.
element of any of that, you know what I mean? But like, I know if my dad watched that movie, that'd be like one of his favorite movies, and I know you know, he would feel like that was, you know what I mean? That I don't know, but like, but the sibling thing is the one thing that like also like separates me from it too, because it's like, yeah, I never had a sibling or anything, but
Yeah. I also love the dad's music taste, like that Wilco song where he's like, "I try to stay busy." That's a song that I actually like, but I feel it's so funny because that's how I would describe the song. Like, it's just straight up production, like Abbey Road Beatles. I was like, that's something that I would say now. I also like very much so related to like him and that one girl who he had a good connection with in high school, but then she like went the like basic preppy route, if that makes sense.
what like
Who
the
ended up,
college lacrosse dude?
yeah,
Yeah,
when-
yeah.
I was like, oh, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, I related to that conversation they had outside, not specifically what happened, but like that just felt so real to me, and it's like, oh my god, like the,
I only told Becky.
and especially being younger too, it's like, yeah, you think I haven't been seeing anybody too, like, and then they're just like, you're just saying that to hurt me, and just run off, and it's like, like, you're fucking trash still, though. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
and you just feel salty, but then it's like, but that's also like a high school way of like. You know, it just ends salty sometimes like that. I don't know.
The dad gave some good advice too after that,
Yeah.
and that was sick. He won that photo contest, and that was nice.
Yeah.
Even though it was a picture of her.
Yeah, I didn't even put that together.
Yeah. The night they had in Austin was cool though. That made me
Yeah.
be like, maybe Austin's cooler than I think. Actually, Austin's a very cool town. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
A
it
lot of
was
towns in Texas, like Dallas is cool.
the
I've
second.
never been to Houston.
The second stepdad, I like that he was like, he's like, I've been here before. I can put up with this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. He stood up for himself a little bit more than he would have.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though that guy
And-
sucked.
Yeah, that guy sucked too, but it was also like, all right, he's like also kind of like minor compared to the other dude too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he was just dick verbally, you know what I mean? But like,
I think that dude probably had like some like unresolved
yeah.
trauma too that he was like not dealing with.
Well, and it was funny because, like, wasn't he a cop at one point and then he was a corrections officer? Or was he just always a corrections officer? Because they made that that was a very distinctive thing after the argument outside where he was like, and then he just turns around and it says corrections on the back. And it's like,
I
and then he just
wonder.
sits there angry and you can tell it's like, okay, he's got a fucking shitty job. Like,
I think so. You know, like when we first met him, he was a student that had come back from touring, and maybe he had like stopped being a student and just took a job.
yeah. I think at a certain point, I thought he was wearing a police badge at the kitchen table, like when everything was still kind of good.
That might have been the case too.
Yeah.
That might have been the case too.
And I think he became a corrections officer, maybe
Yeah.
like, and that's when he started like drinking more, you know, and
Yeah, finances started to get rough.
yeah,
All that good stuff. But he wasn't as scary as that first dad. That first dad was messed up.
yeah.
Oh my god, the scene where the dude's driving. I don't know how they shot that, but that was so stressful.
Yeah,
Where he like swerves into traffic.
yeah,
Oh man,
yeah. That was fucked up.
that guy was fucked up.
Yeah.
And he started out so normal.
He was the weird professor that like hit on her though too.
That is true. That was weird.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, so you think you can get a babysitter?"
Yeah.
Like after class, like walking out after class, like
oh, I love the comment where he was like, at the end, he's like, "Oh, it would have been like nice if you guys would have stayed together, or something like that. Would have saved me from like a string of drunken assholes." And Ethan Hawke's like, "You said it, not me." Like, I don't know.
who said that?
The boy says that about like he's older now. Like
Yeah.
when he's like almost at the end, he like makes a comment about the string of like drunken asshole boyfriends.
Yeah,
And then like Ethan Hawke's like, "You said it, not me." Like
Yeah.
I can't say that shit, but
yeah.
it's not my place. But yes.
It was so funny when the mom like came up to him and his new girl at the graduation party.
She walks away and he goes, "She's a bitch."
Yeah, but even what she was saying was hilarious. Just as far as like, oh yeah, you found him at a good time, I guess. Like, you know, like I don't know. She was ruthless, but
And it was nice that he offered to pay. That was all very wholesome.
I thought that I don't think that was a wholesome moment.
You don't think that's nice?
It was nice, but it was one of those like, okay, like, you know, because he was like, you know, well, he was like, good job, you know, but then he was like, here, you know, and he didn't even have the money in his wallet, you know, that made it like even look a little bit worse, I think, but like, I think it was like
Yeah, I think he probably feels bad for all the stuff that she paid for over time.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it was like like I just, I'll just give you money and you do you handle everything. You know what
Yeah,
I
I see what
mean?
you're
And it was
saying.
like oh, like this is just, the only thing you would do is just
Yeah, but I mean, it
hand
would have
over
been
some
worse if he
cash.
would have done nothing. You know what I
True.
mean?
True.
His brother there though, that was so awkward. He was like, "Make sure you wear protection for breakup sex. You can ask your dad about that one."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You end
like,
up
dude.
and then he's like, yeah. He's like, you end up with this. Whoop.
Yeah, it's like, bro.
The brother was funny for a second there.
Oh man. But this movie, it just feels so different than most movies. Um, like there's no like panic or crises. Like you're just like watching life unfold,
Yeah.
and that feels so weird and cool at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Like there's no movie where that it ages so naturally. Um, and it's so weird when he like pops up from being like teenage or like, you know,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he's grown. I think like the last time he's like a boy is when he's like walking with that girl. After he's like going from the school to see his mom because his sister didn't pick him up, and that girl who's like clearly is like flirting with him, but like he's not picking up on it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but she also says another girl has a crush on him.
Yeah, but I also feel like that's like the classic grade school way of being like,
She also like used that at first to get him to say like, "Oh, like Leanne has a crush on you. Do you got a girlfriend?"
yeah, and
You
like
know.
is like you should come to this party. Like Leanne wants you to be there.
Yeah.
But like I think she wants him to be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Cuz he was making I think he was like with her later on.
I think she's in the back seat of the car
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
when he's like, "Do you have any gum?"
Yeah.
That was a funny moment when he walks in and she's like, "Are you drunk?" And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah. He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah. I'm going to go to sleep now.
She was a good mom.
Yeah.
She was a good mom. It was cool that the mom that helped her move out of that bad situation was there at the graduation.
Yeah.
Like that was tight.
Yeah.
That made me happy. And I think that was the same girl,
No, definitely.
like the daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, I'm 13 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering if we're going to see the stepkids again at a certain point.
But I feel like it's better that like it's more real that you never do, you know?
Yeah.
I also liked his one friend who like shows up at the graduation with him. He's in a few scenes. He's like the
Yeah.
drummer in the band at the party.
Yeah.
That seemed like a cool party. I was like, I don't think I ever saw a party so chill at high school.
Yeah. I'm like, not a lot of people like did music in my high school, but there was like every once in a while a couple people and they would do like a little backyard party. You know what I mean? It was kind of cool like that, but
That's sick. That's sick.
that was the closest, I don't know.
Did you know that the moment they're at that baseball game, right? It was. I mean, like obviously that was a real baseball game.
Yeah, I
It's like it
figured.
wasn't planned that home run was gonna happen. So like that just got like lucky. They were just like shooting for that pitch and like they hit a home run and so they got to pan over and be like, it's like a home run. Like that was a real reaction.
Yeah, yeah. That
Um,
makes sense. That's dope.
I just blows my mind how well it all looked together despite being over 12 years.
Yeah.
Like everything felt so modern
Yeah.
and so full of life.
Well, I wonder if they did like shoot it on the same fucking camera.
I mean,
you
they had
know,
to,
like-
yeah, definitely.
And then if you think about it, it's like really like, that's like a 1 week shoot week. You know,
like, a part of me thinks like it's kind of brilliant in the way that it's like if you get everyone on board, like what? Maybe you just have to get funding for like
yeah,
$50,000 a year.
yeah,
I mean, actually, now that's sounding a lot, but I mean, not even if you're like a big director, like a $500,000 budget.
yeah.
I don't know.
Or just get like a full movie budget, but it's just allotted over time. Like
Yeah,
you only
exactly.
need like the chunk of it for this year. Like
yeah,
they should do this more often. Like film movies over like 4 and 5 year times. And let I don't know.
and it's fun because like
Maybe even the shows. Imagine if they started doing shows because they have those issues with like Stranger Things and shit like that in Ozarks. Like,
yeah, they should just write in the years past
yeah, or just film like the entirety of the show. Like, I don't know. Like,
quickly.
yeah, or like just I don't know, before it's. I don't know. Or
It'd be-
yeah, go into years like.
It'd be fun if like someone did like a 10-episode show and each episode was a different year.
Yeah.
But then you have to wait so long. Like it's a miracle that they got all these actors. No one dropped off or dropped out. And I mean, I
Yeah.
guess like the plan was like he would write or rewrite things to fit in. like as it went on.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm sure they had to adapt to different things, but it's a cool experiment, and I think it paid off really well. I mean, like he kind of did the same thing with, or does the same thing with the Before movies too,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like,
Yeah, those take place over time.
yeah, it's like the first one's when they meet, and then the second one's like years after when they were supposed to meet. They have a random encounter, and then it's like when they're an old couple or a middle-aged couple.
But when you're a solidified director, you know, you got people that'll probably be on board for that. You know, a lot of people have like their same crews that they work with a lot of times.
I mean, like, and he's worked with Ethan a bunch.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Honestly, the most important was that boy.
and what's that?
The boy was probably the most important.
Yeah, you know, the boy, the mom, you know, Patricia Arquette being on board was huge.
It's cool
you
that
know.
he got his daughter in it.
Yeah,
Like,
his
that
dog-
sounds fun.
Yeah. You know, and those are the main people, and he can cast new people for different years and have them come and go, and some stay, and some be for a couple years, and some not. And
Yeah. It's cool that he captured, like, the political tensions at the time, too. Like, it feels like a time capsule in that way.
yeah.
Like, everyone remembers Bush versus Obama.
Oh, it's a total time capsule, just from everything, you know, like.
Yeah. Like, the different technologies that start to pop up.
Because it does capture, like, even if you don't know the Game Boy era, you may know the Xbox era. Even if you don't know that, you know the Wii era.
Yeah.
You don't know that, you know, like,
Dude, I love his little conversation when they're driving to Austin and he's talking about social media.
yeah.
Like, that was cool. He's
Yeah.
like, I just don't want to live my life on a screen. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and it was funny
After
because he
that.
was talking about how, like, oh, like, yeah, everyone fucking hated that dude after he deleted his Facebook, like, last year. You know what I mean? It was like he was just trying, you know, like, and I'm like, that's so funny, like, how, like, serious the internet was at a certain point, too. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. They nail so many things like that.
Dude, the one, he makes that, like, really, like, big, you know, like, deep thought statement or, like, monologue about how his conspiracy is that people realized it was too expensive to build a robot workforce, that they just, like, program people into becoming robots to, like, be the workforce.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, it kind of
I was like, this kid gets it.
hit that one on the head.
Yeah, it made me think. Not
Yeah.
like
I've never wanted to be one of those, like, anti-society people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, that one did get me a little close to being like,
Yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
fully agree with, but like I think it's an interesting perspective.
No, definitely.
I liked how like anti-culture he was, or anti-mainstream,
Yeah.
because it also felt like he was picking that up from his dad in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like looked up to his
Well,
dad
it
a
was
bunch.
cool what he did pick up from his dad. That moment, oh my God, that's such a real moment too. Whenever the dad was like, "I sold the GTO,"
Dude,
and he was like, "Yo,"
yes,
like that's such a real moment. Like, and that's such a funny thing how kids like will latch on to certain things. You know what I mean? Especially, like that one specifically being like, "Oh, third grade, you know, blah blah blah. You told me." You know what I mean? Like you latch on to something, you remember that forever. But then you also like, it's funny probably watching that from two different perspectives because I can see it from both already. You know what I mean? But like, if you're talking about you were like more a Mason, like maybe even the first time you didn't even understand Ethan Hawke's side, but then like now you do or something.
yeah,
you
I
know?
get it.
Yeah, where it's like, also it's like, yo, like I don't remember doing that. You know what I mean?
Also, like you're my kid, but like you're not. Like I'm a person too.
Well, that I thought was like you didn't need to say all that.
Well, yeah, but I just mean like, just
Yeah.
like when you're a kid, you're like, how would you not have seen this from my perspective?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you see everything from my
Yeah.
perspective, but to be like, my bad, like
Yeah.
you know, like I was in my own world too.
If anything, I think it would have been better to just be like, you know, like, hey, like, you know, like, sometimes you just forget, you know, sometimes you just say something in the moment, you know what I mean? Like, I was, you know, I was playing, in that moment, I thought I would give it to you, and
Yeah, I mean, I have a very specific memory of like when I was like probably 5 or 6, I was playing like soccer in the backyard, and I was like making bets, like if I made it past my dad, if I would like get one, and I was like, if I make it past on this one, it was like a sudden death. I was like, you get me a Nintendo 64, and I made the shot. Never got the Nintendo 64.
yeah,
But I still remember it.
yeah,
And I remember being like a little like salty about it. But I mean, looking back now, I'm like,
Yeah.
like I get it.
that was a finesse. Yeah, you was trying to get a finesse, but
But I was like, I don't know, the way in the moment, the way we were playing too. Like I don't
Yeah.
even think I was the one who offered up that bet. I don't know. But
yeah, he was like, let's bet on it, and you're like, yeah, N64, and he was like, yep,
the important takeaway now, like looking back, is like that. You know, like it. I don't know. the fact that we were like chilling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that like Ethan looking back is like, yo, we were at least hanging out. I don't know,
Yeah.
but that was a powerful moment
Yeah.
and a very like authentic moment. I felt like.
Yeah.
I also like when they were like looking at the Lady Gaga video and the like stepmom was like, "And your mom lets you watch this?" Yeah, she likes it.
She was like, yeah, and at first I was like, damn, she's being judgmental. She like, I guess she was kind of religious, and you didn't even know that yet. But
Yeah.
but she also was like, all right, then she's like, is she playing? Is she playing anywhere? Oh, she's playing in Houston. We'll get you tickets.
Yeah,
You know,
and I thought that was cool.
yeah, yeah,
I think it also goes to show you like maybe how wild Lady Gaga was in that moment.
yeah.
Because like for us, it was just like I don't know, we were like probably high school, and so it was just like pop star. But I'm sure
that would have hit more to me if it was like Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball or something.
Yeah,
You know, like,
definitely.
Because yeah, I kind of forget that Lady Gaga was crazy. Like Lady Gaga just seems so like influential. You know what I mean? And so big that it's like I don't.
It seems like so part of the DNA of pop culture to us.
Yeah, I don't think of her as out. You know, like as crazy. You know, or like anything like. I don't know.
Too outlandish.
Yeah.
Dude, the one moment where like they're playing the Wii and the little girl is singing High School Musical. I was like, damn, I remember that.
I liked when Sam early on was like singing Britney Spears too.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
She had hilarious energy in the beginning.
Yeah, she was really funny in the beginning, and then she just became like, that's interesting. I forgot how funny she was because she became so like, yeah, not like that exactly, but she was just very like, I don't know,
Chilled out.
Yeah,
Sassy.
yeah.
But then you got to remember, like, she was also going, like, as she was hitting puberty, like, all that stuff happened with the one dude.
Yeah.
Man, the scene where, like, she's going through their phones, and he's like, have you talked to her?
Yeah.
That was intense.
Yeah.
And then they're like, she shows up, and she's like, get out, get out. And they're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
All that was just so well done. And I noticed more on rewatches, you'll notice he, like, quickly is always drinking pretty heavily. Like, at that dinner, like, he's like, let's get another bottle of wine after the honeymoon.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's hiding the liquor.
I could also, like, relate to, like, adults being, like, too critical of you. If that makes sense. Being like, oh, you didn't finish the chores? Like, oh,
yeah,
you're supposed to do the chores. That's why we had you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, intense adults were not my friends. Well, obviously. But I have bad memories of intense adults.
Yeah.
Not even, like, family members. Just, like, I don't know. Teachers and some shit.
There's a fly.
Yeah, I've been noticing it.
God damn it.
A fly on the wall, there's a fly. And then that last song is just, I love that song. They're like, let me go, I don't want to be your hero. As he's like driving off in the distance with the Yo Toyota.
Yeah, I thought that should have been the end.
Yeah, that's fair. I like his little talk with the girl though.
Yeah.
Where she's like,
that was cool because he's like, it seemed like he really found like someone that like, you know what I mean, is kind of like him. And
yeah,
that's even what, the one teacher is like, oh yeah, you really find your people in college. And it's like, yeah, it's like once you're out of high school, it's like none of that shit even matters anymore. It's kind of like a whole new.
You start to settle into your tribe.
Yeah, literally is a whole new chapter. And then.
Yeah, and like she's going on about her love of like dance, and there's like that connection of like, oh, she must have gone through this whole journey of her life, like to get to that moment where she's like so open about her love of dance and her passion. I also just love the dude who's like clearly extremely baked, and he's like, all of space and time to get to this moment to stand here and scream, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That felt like very like,
Yeah.
you're 19 and you're just getting really ripped.
That's the
Stoned.
one thing I wish I could have experienced in life is like the dorm life of just being like, like 18, 19 and just going off to a college and like, I don't know.
Yeah. One of my friend, Brooke, that's in France that I went and saw, I literally met her because she just saw into my dorm room. Like it was like set up like these, and she could see into ours. So she came over just to let us know that she could see into our room, and she thought that was strange. And then we became friends after that.
Hell yeah.
But then there's also a bunch of weird people too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hit or miss. But I don't know. It's like you were saying, you sort of like settle into the people you actually want to settle into.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like when he like pulls off to the side and he's taking a few pictures and stuff. It's nice.
Yeah.
And he kind of always has like a little creative soul, which is nice too. He's a very curious kid growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, the dead bird. That was like a quick little moment.
Oh yeah. There are just like little tiny moments.
Yeah, but then because I remember Ian being like kind of alarmed by it, and I'm like, I just remember being a kid though, and like seeing like my first dead animal, and just being
What the fuck?
like you gotta kind of stare at it for a while, like what the fuck, that is a dead animal. Like I've seen those birds flying around, like now that thing is half decomposing, like
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I loved that we talked about the ripstick.
Yeah.
Those scenes when they were like skating around. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, early on, I'm like, I just, was so excited to just see how things changed, knowing that the world just changed. You know what I mean? And they did it. Yeah, it was cool. The Soldier Boy was funny. And it's cool how they did like those little moments. You know?
Because like there will never be a time where it was like that to be. You know what I mean? They really
Yeah.
capture what it felt like to be a kid in that decade.
People need to do more movies like this, really.
Yeah, because I feel like in a lot of ways it documented that time really well.
Mm-hmm.
But also it allowed for so many different like story explorations and character payoffs. I think like when I've said it already a little bit, but like when I first saw it, I really paid attention to like Mason's growth. But like the movie does an incredible job of like all the characters growing. Like,
Yeah.
even the sister. Like I haven't really even considered her. Like she goes off and has this whole life in Austin already.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool. They have a nice relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Although when she's given the toast, she's like, I forgot what she
Good
said.
luck.
Good luck.
Yeah. But that seemed real to me too.
That seems
like,
real. Like of course. She's
Yeah.
I mean like she's in her moody 20 years
Yeah.
in some ways. It was funny that the dishwasher guy showed up.
Yeah.
Or the owner.
Yeah,
But I think he showed up genuinely.
Yeah, and then it was so fucked up because he was like, he's like, and if you ever, if you don't get a job, you come back, I might make you front a house. It was like, shut the fuck up. Like, that made me so, I was like, yo, shut up, dude. Like, that just reminded me of every manager I ever had. It's like, yo, if I had a manager at, like, my graduation or something, and they would have said that would have just been so terrible.
Yeah. And the mom's so cool. It's so cool how, like, I don't know, she really grinds. Like, on her own dreams and her kids' dreams.
Yeah, she had a lot of changes. She was, a lot of different people. And
She, like, in a lot of ways, like, she sets down a path at the beginning of the movie, and, like, she reaches it. And then I feel like she's like, what's next? She doesn't know.
But it also seems like she kind of falls off that a little bit. She starts, like, selling some stuff. And, they hit, like, money troubles after that. And she kind of...
Yeah.
I think she goes through shit after that, I guess does she get her master's after that? Like,
Yeah, I think she had gotten her master's when she was like working the job post-master's when she had that house, but she couldn't afford it with just one salary, I think, is the gist. She cuts that guy out quick, though.
Yeah.
And that was nice.
Yeah, they didn't even show that. It was just quick.
He starts to get on Mason for his fingernails. The sister stands up for him, though. But she kind of also makes fun of him in the same moment.
Yeah, he's just trying to be cool.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But I like that that moment was nice.
Yeah.
Should we rate the movie?
Yeah, I think so. I know what you're giving it.
Yeah, it's a 10 for me.
It's 10 for me.
Woo!
10's on the board.
Let's go.
10's on the board. The winner.
That's a...
You did it, Steve. You've been talking about this movie for so long, and you did it.
I know. Yeah, I would love
It's
to
a
know the
great movie.
episode that like I first mentioned maybe making a pick.
Yeah.
It had been a... Like,
You should do that research, man. Maybe make a little...
I will.
Maybe make a little clip.
I will. I'll try to find it. I can. It's definitely towards the end of an episode that I remember talking about it, like once or twice. Maybe when Rob was on it at some point.
I was gonna say yeah. We've talked about it with Rob. I know that.
Yeah, because I don't know. There's something nice about.
Where's the AI where you can just like look up like Boyhood? Like type in like or, like you say like Boyhood.
It
and be
scans
like,
through all of our
Yeah,
texts.
it scans your voice specifically and like finds it.
I'm sure that it exists. It would take some time to set up though.
I saw a video on YouTube. Since we rated the movie, yeah, we can we can move on. But
I will say I think this is added to my list of Corey 10s of Stevie picks.
yeah, I'm I'm basically just like you got a crown of being a good movie picker.
That's all
So
I need.
I'm gonna stop showing any signs of hesitation because
The one thing I was worried about this one was that it was like a 2 hour and 46 minute movie.
yeah, it definitely derailed me at first, but yeah, it was like even it was funny because yeah, Ian was sitting down there and we were kicking it for a second. I'm like, if you wanna watch this movie, you can, and I'm like, but it is 2 hour and 40. He's like, yeah, nah. And then we started it and then like 40 minutes passed and Ian was still watching and
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, and I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. Like, and I was like, I don't even care. I'm like kind of excited that it's 2 hour and 40, like, yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it made me excited that it was after seeing like how it started.
I feel like it's a great pace too. It never feels like too long.
Yeah.
This is my last comment that I just thought of, but the one thing that it feels weird now watching it, but like it didn't feel weird as a kid was the Pledge of Allegiance in class. I don't know. It feels like weird to watch all these kids be like,
Pledge Allegiance is pretty weird. It was also weird noticing that they had the little Texas
yeah,
salute to the left, and
we
then-
love Texas.
But it made me think. I'm like, do they specifically put the Texas flag at like a different corner of the room? You know what I mean? And make people like always, like that's like some almost Hitler shit. Like, And then it was very quick too. It was like I pledge allegiance to the Texas flag.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I think it might be a thing.
Just 2 lines too, or
It's-
something like
People love Texas.
crazy. Texas is cool, but damn,
Yeah, I love all the desert scenes.
yeah.
Oh, dude, the one. Sorry, I just keep thinking the scene where he's like, and she doesn't even like the best movies that came out this year, like Batman,
Yeah.
Superbad, and I forget the other
Pineapple
one.
Express.
Yeah. And it's like, oh man, like that's a classic like 8th grader
Yeah.
take on things.
But then his dad was like, "Is she cute?" And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah."
I
And he's like, "All right." And then he gave him the advice. He's like, "You know what you need to do with?" He's like, you need to ask. He's like, you need to let girls ask questions, or he's like, you need to ask girls questions, and then just listen.
that's good advice.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's shitty that it has to be like advice like that. You know what I mean? Like it seems natural, but it also is like, just like that should be like advice for parenting too. Like, like ask them questions and then listen.
Yep.
Like listen to them.
Yeah, and I feel like they were really good parents in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think maybe I'm like biased in certain ways. I think the mom was kind of like she was going through it, and maybe that's part of the single mother like act too. You know what I mean? Of like and having to raise him, but like she had her ups and downs. You know what I mean? For sure. You know what I mean? And they do make the dad look like a saint, and I think that has to do with single mother who has to actually deal with the real bullshit.
Oh,
and like,
yeah.
and like the dad who is the
Just he
weekend
gets to sweep
dad.
in.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and can clean up his act a lot easier.
Yeah. So I think it's easy to say he's a great dad too, but and I'm not even trying to say that she's a bad mom. I just think that they definitely show like, because that's that like to me it's like a tough moment like seeing her be like, I don't know what the next step is.
Yeah.
Crying to her kids saying that, and their kids are young. You know what I mean? That's a tough fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like that's something I've seen too. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like
You mean like pretty like when she leaves that one dude?
yeah,
and
the
they're at the
first
house?
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
the first one, and she's like, I don't fucking know what's next. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and it's like that's tough, and like that shouldn't be put on kids at all. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Of
I
them
think it
being,
also goes to show just like how shitty men are, if that
Yeah.
makes sense,
yeah,
and how hard it can be to find like
yeah,
someone to like settle. You know what I'm saying, and be a good father figure.
yeah.
She definitely does her best at all times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I started off maybe sounding a little
no,
negative to
but
her.
I get what you were saying. It's just that like when you're with somebody 95% of their life, like you're gonna also be there for more of the bad moments and more of the good moments. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
because you're like having to live with
Yeah.
them. It also like lets Ethan Hawke's character like have more time to like get his life in order.
yeah,
Like he has the weeks to do that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't even know what he does. He never says what he does really, besides like that one time when he's like, "Oh, I'm working for an insurance company."
Yeah, I think that's what he does.
yeah,
But I don't know. You're right. He only says it once.
yeah.
I liked when he was like, "I thought you were a musician." He's like,
he's like,
"No."
well, yeah. I mean, you gotta pay the bills, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there were so many things in this movie.
Oh, it was a great run. I'm glad you watched it. I'm glad we finally got to do it.
Yeah, great movie.
It's one that I really like to revisit,
yeah,
and I think there's stuff to get out of it each revisit.
yeah. This is one of the. This is easily a top 20 movie.
Yeah, I feel like Richard Linklater is such a unique director, without feeling like overly stylized.
Yeah,
Like very story focused.
yeah, but yeah, it's almost amazing to think that it's like this is the dude that did School of Rock, you know.
Yeah.
And they filmed School of Rock in the middle of this.
Yep.
You know, like that's the other funny thing. Like this
It's
movie
hilarious.
started before School of Rock
And then
came out.
And then he got bigger, you know.